Brains are incredibly powerful machines, yet most people struggle with them instead of understanding how they work. When we fall into addiction, laziness, or failure, we often start seeing ourselves as weak, but science says otherwise. The brain runs on habits, not emotions. The 21-day rule perfectly illustrates this principle. According to neuroscience, when we repeatedly perform a task, neural pathways form in the brain. These pathways are like roads. The more traffic a road gets, the wider and stronger it becomes. Addiction develops the same way. When we repeat the same habit daily, scrolling on the phone, smoking, watching pornography, overeating junk food, the pathways associated with these behaviors grow stronger and more entrenched. The 21-day rule doesn't mean that on the 22nd day you suddenly become superhuman. It means that if you give your brain a consistent new signal for 21 days, resistance begins to decrease. On the first day, your brain will fight it. On the second day, excuses arise. By the third day, fatigue sets in. But gradually, the brain begins to recognize that this new pattern is serious and real. The first lesson of this challenge is that addiction is not your personality, it's the result of training. And anything that can be trained can also be untrained. Once you understand this, feelings of guilt and shame diminish. Instead of blaming yourself, you begin to focus on fixing the system. Over the course of 21 days, you send a clear signal to your brain. The rules have changed. Through consistency, you don't force your brain, you convince it. Each small decision you make daily builds the foundation for future mental wiring. This is why in this challenge, perfection is unnecessary, continuity is everything. Most people think addiction is caused by a specific thing, cigarettes, phones, drugs, or other habits. But the real cause is dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's chemical signal for reward. Whenever the brain receives a reward without effort, dopamine is released. The problem begins when rewards start coming without effort. Unlock your phone, dopamine. Watch a video, dopamine. Receive a like, dopamine. The brain gets used to receiving pleasure without work. Then, when real-life effort is required, studying, working, or focusing, the brain resists. This is called the dopamine trap. The brain begins to prioritize instant pleasure over long-term success. That's why addiction isn't limited to substances. Procrastination, laziness, and overthinking are also results of dopamine imbalance. The most important message here is, you are not the problem. Your brain has been hijacked by a faulty reward system. Once you understand this, self-hate decreases and self-control becomes possible. The role of the 21-day challenge is to reset your dopamine system. Delay every reward, earn every pleasure. Once the brain realizes that rewards come only after effort, it begins to accept focus and discipline once again. Many people try to eliminate an addiction, but this approach is flawed. The brain cannot tolerate a vacuum. If you remove a habit and leave nothing in its place, the brain will bring it back. Rewiring the brain means replacing, not resisting. In this challenge, we do not forcefully break old habits. We replace them with a small, repeatable new action. The brain learns through repetition, not intensity. Practicing focus for just 10 minutes every day is more powerful than 2 hours of random effort. Each time you repeat a new positive action, a new neural pathway strengthens. Patience is critical in this process. The first 7 days are uncomfortable. The next 7 are confusing. The final 7 bring clarity. This is why the 21-day structure is so powerful. People often say, "I don't have willpower." The truth is, willpower is limited. The secret to discipline is environment. If your environment works against you, even the strongest willpower will fail. If your phone is next to your bed, you will scroll. If junk food is in the house, control becomes difficult. The brain always chooses the easiest option. Smart people design their environment so that wrong choices are hard and right choices are easy. The focus here is to make your surroundings an ally, not an enemy. When the environment changes, discipline comes automatically. Fewer decisions mean less fatigue, which equals greater consistency. Addiction thrives on comfort. Success thrives on discomfort. This is a universal truth. The brain naturally avoids pain and gravitates toward comfort. Growth, however, comes only when you accept a little controlled discomfort. Waking up early, staying away from your phone, maintaining focus, these initially feel painful. But this pain is not destructive, it is constructive. When you tolerate small daily discomforts, your brain grows stronger. The message here is simple. Don't fear pain. Treat it as a signal that you are growing. Those who constantly run from pain remain trapped in the cycle of addiction. The most powerful transformation does not come from habits, it comes from identity. As long as you see yourself as an addicted person, addiction remains strong. When you start saying, "I am a disciplined person," your brain begins to protect that identity. The final goal of this challenge is to change your self-image, not just your actions, but also your inner dialogue. When you tell yourself, "I am in control," your brain begins making decisions that align with this identity. After 21 days, you don't just change your habits, you become a new version of yourself. And when your identity shifts, the chances of relapse drop dramatically.